Commissioner Onaka, can we do an audio and video check, please? Commissioner Chan, can we do an audio video check, please? Got your video.
Everybody.
Okay, thank you. Commissioner Onaka, can we do an audio video check, please? Got your video.
How's audio?
Yep, good, thank you.
All right, good to go.
Chair, can we do an audio check, please?
Sure, here we go.
Okay, thank you. Commissioner Ono, can we do an audio video check? Got your video.
Yep, I'm here.
Okay, thank you. Okay, Chair, we can begin.
Hey, thank you, Scott. I hereby call this meeting of the Reapportionment Commission to order. It's 2 p.m. on January 22nd, 2022. This meeting is being conducted by video conference and telephone. I would like to remind the commissioners to keep their cameras on for the duration of the meeting. Will the secretary please take the roll?
Chair Muguishi,
Present.
Commissioner Chipchase, excused. Commissioner Chun,
Here.
Commissioner Kennedy, excused. Commissioner Nakota,
Here.
Commissioner Nishimura,
Here.
Commissioner Onaka,
Present.
Commissioner Ono,
Here.
Commissioner Rathbun, excused. Chair, you have a quorum.
Mahalo. Commissioners, pursuant to Act 220, Session Laws of Hawaii 2021, you are required to disclose if anyone is present with you for this meeting. Commissioners, is anyone present with you for this meeting?
No.
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 All right, thank you. I'll disclose that my Assistant Vice President of Government and External Relations, Matt Sasaki, is here with me in the room. Additionally, pursuant to Act 220, we will be meeting remotely using interactive conference technology. This meeting is being recorded and will be posted on the Office of Elections website at elections.hawaii.gov shortly after the conclusion of this meeting. As a reminder to the public, your microphone will be muted until you are called upon. Public testimony. We will now move on to public testimony. A list of testifiers who have submitted their name before the meeting has been added to the chat. As technical issues may arise, we will give each testifier a few moments to try and resolve any connection issues. However, if the issues cannot be resolved, we'll have to move on to the next testifier. If you would like to testify, please click raise hand under reactions on Zoom. If you are joining us by phone, please press *9. When recognized, please unmute your microphone before speaking. You may also turn on your video at this time. For the record, please state your first and last name and the items you will be testifying on. For those testifiers joining us by phone, we will not have your name and will be identifying you by the last 4 digits of your phone number. To ensure that we will have sufficient time to hear all testimony, each testifier will have 3 minutes to testify. Once your time is expired, you will be asked to conclude your remarks. During public testimony, the commissioners will also be muted, but may unmute themselves to ask questions. Will the secretary please announce the first testifier?
First testifier is Kimeona Kane.
Mahalo nui. Aloha nui kako, ovano kimeona, nohovau ma wai manalo. Aloha Chair Mugishi, commissioners, general public, and office staff. My name is Kimeona Kane. Born and raised in Waimanalo here on Oahu. I'm speaking today on behalf of the Waimanalo Neighborhood Board as their chair, as well as my own individual capacity. First, on behalf of the Waimanalo Neighborhood Board, we want to send our mahalo to the commission for considering our thoughts, as well as in addition to the Kailua and Hawaii Kai communities in regards to House District 51 and the movement of the boundary line back to the Makapu'u point. While we appreciate that gesture and listening to the community, we also want to request that the Senate line, which has been in use currently for over 2 decades, be also reestablished back at the Makapu'u point, as it helps to ensure that that community is in whole. What we mean by that is that the Senate district does not have bits and pieces of 2 different communities, which it currently does in Kailua and Hawaii Kai. And so to bring it back into wholeness, we would really appreciate that the commission take a look and see how that's possible. So mahalo for that. On my personal side, Chair, I just want to encourage the commission to take a look again at the maps that are currently being drawn by the technical group. There's been a lot of really critical feedback provided by various communities still in the Papakolea community, the Mililani community, Pearl City communities, as well as our Puna district out in Hawaii Island, to address their concerns, which seems very doable. As many people recognize, there's some constitutional questions that come into mind as far as how the conducting of the drawing has been done. But there has been proof driven in partnership, I think, if the commission would appreciate that, by members of the public who have demonstrated the ability to do what is asked of them, to provide recommendations to this commission for consideration. And I believe that they have solutions that will work, including fitting 2 House districts into 1 Senate district, and then the Senate districts into the congressional district, so that lines are not overlapping. But really want to mahalo everybody. Take a look at the maps that are out there and asking the commission to put them side by side so the public can see them, to make it work better for all the communities involved. Mahalo nui again, Chair, for the opportunity, and the commission for your hard work, and the public for coming out continuously to voice your concerns. Ke aloha nui no. Oya, mahalo.
Next testifier is Kapua Maderos, followed by Bart Ding. Kapua Maderos. Next testifier is Bart Dame, followed by Bill Hicks.
Okay, I'm feeling lonely not following Kapua. I think I followed her at a couple of the recent things, and each time I've been inspired by her passion. Real quickly, let me repeat some of the comments I made yesterday. I'm hoping that some of the tweaks that can still be made and problems that I see in the Oahu maps can be made, including the splitting of Papakolea, which I think was unintentional, and also I think can be readily fixed, probably by moving a few lines without much consequence. Second, I want to remind people again that the Senate maps are still dividing the town centers of both Kailua and Kaneohe towns. I don't have practical solutions for that. That might not be as easy as the Papakolea fix, but if you can do that, I'd appreciate that. That is an important problem. I see the chair of the Kailua Neighborhood Board sort of smiling along as I say that, and certainly from their perspective, it'd be important. Also, going a little bit afield, while I'm not a Big Islander, as I've looked at the plans, the so-called community plan that they've developed over there, my impression as a frequent visitor to the Big Island is that I find it more attractive than the technical group's map. I also like the fact that it had such broad participation by so much of the community in developing it. And in particular with the technical committee's map, I'm very concerned about the very large Ka'u district, House District 5, which I think has been estimated to cover 40% of the island. I think it'd be hard for a candidate running for that office to run. It'd be hard for an office holder to service the community fairly. And I think it would be hard for the residents to have effective working relations and communications with their elected official. So to the extent that can be changed, I think that would be helpful. But I'd like to focus the rest of my time to the question of the constitutional criteria that are to be used for reapportionment. I've seen these characterized as though they are guidelines. I think that word is a little too loosey-goosey. And I see them instead as requirements. I think the Constitution requires you to follow these criteria with the qualifier to the extent they are practicable. So therefore, if you ignore one, as you are ignoring the requirement that that House districts be contained entirely within Senate districts, if practicable, if you are going to ignore that, you have to show us how it is impracticable because that conflicts with some of the other criteria. And so far there has been a silence on that, a refusal to discuss it except for generalized statements that you can trust us. We looked at all these things and we won't explain why we came to the conclusion, but we believe it's impracticable. I think in a legal arena that makes you vulnerable. While it's not a hot button issue, I think it proposes an easy remedy. If a court were to look at it very quickly, they could say, just combine two House districts. So thank you for that.
Next testifier is Bill Hicks, followed by Sarah Hauserman.
Aloha, Chair. I'm Bill Hicks, Chairman of the Kailua Neighborhood Board. I submitted an alternative Oahu Senate plan that is aligned with the Technical Committee's House plan and is fully in accordance with all constitutional criteria. Every Senate district contains exactly 2 of the House districts drawn by the Technical Committee. Every House district is fully contained within 1 Senate district, a constitutional criteria. With the aligned Senate plan, elected officials would all have a shared understanding of the community's needs for schools, roads, and other infrastructure, enabling them to be more effective at representing their district. The aligned plan also resolves the issues raised by the Kailua, Waimanalo, Hawaii Kai, and Pearl City neighborhood boards. And Bart, yes, it also unifies Kailua and Kaneohe. In contrast, the Technical Committee's Senate plan has multiple Oahu Senate districts that span across 6 House districts and multiple House districts that span across 4 Senate districts. This makes it much harder to effectively coordinate action and therefore dilutes representation. Only 9 Oahu House districts are fully contained within 1 Senate district, while 25 Oahu House districts are not. That's 25 cases where the public deserves to know the justification for not following the constitutional criteria. I reiterate my request that the Reapportionment Commission's professional staff present a detailed side-by-side comparison of these 2 Senate plans. I also submitted an alternative congressional plan that is also aligned with the technical committee's house plan and is fully in accordance with all criteria. Chapter 25 of the Hawaii Revised Statute says, quote, "Where practicable, state legislative districts shall be wholly included within congressional districts. In the technical committee's plan, 6 House districts and 5 Senate districts cross the congressional district boundary. House districts are the smallest districts and offer the most granularity in their construction. It is best to construct compliant House districts first and use them as building blocks for not only Senate districts, but also for congressional districts. Construct the congressional districts last and not first. The aligned congressional plan demonstrates that it is entirely practicable for no House district to cross the congressional district boundary. If it is practicable, I believe the HRS language clearly says it should be done. There are hundreds and hundreds of different combinations of House, Senate, and congressional districts. If the aligned Senate and congressional plans are used, if you're in House District 18, then you are in Senate District 9 and Congressional District 1, period, and so on throughout Oahu. I believe this would streamline the efforts of the Office of Elections for the next decade, while also making it easier for each citizen. Progress has been made. The final step is alignment of the Senate and congressional plans. With this final alignment in my heart, I believe every commissioner would be justifiably proud of the maps for the next 10 years. Mahalo.
Next testifier is Sarah Hauserman, followed by Richard Bidleman.
Aloha, can you hear me?
Yes.
Hi, thank you very much. My name is Sarah Hauserman, and I'm just here to advocate for keeping the town of Kailua Kona together as much as possible. I live in Kailua Kona, and I feel like our unique town's voice is going to be diluted if parts of our town are lumped together with other types of folks, rural folks. For instance, where I live in Keawe, I'm in the south of Kailua Kona, and as the map is currently suggested, that we'll be lumped together with rural folks to the south of us, and I think that will dilute our town's voice. So I am opposed to the current plan of the Reapportionment Commission just for that reason, and also I looked at the Puna folks' plans, and they seem to split us too, and I don't like the way it's split. The only plans that I see that lump Kailua Kona together in a way that I think would be effective for us as a town to have our voice heard is Hustis Plan number 3 and Hustis Plan number 2. And I can't speak to any other boundaries on the island. I don't feel qualified to do so, except to say that I do believe that the extra seat should be on the west side of the island because we carry the lion's share of the tourist burden and have the lion's share of problems because of that. In any case, thank you very much.
Okay, next testifier is Richard Bidleman, followed by Ariel Murphy. Richard Bidleman. Okay, next testifier is Ariel Murphy.
Oh, wait a minute. Hello.
Oh,
Okay, go ahead.
What happened?
Mr. Bidleman, go ahead.
Okay, thank you. My name is Richard Bidleman, and I think I have a real perspective here about the reapportionment plan, and I'm looking at the Boye plan. I used to live in Puna, and I now live in Honeka'a, but before that I lived in Waimea. And so the boundaries for District 1 have extended into Waimea, and I used to live in that community, part of Waimea. And I think it represents pretty much a lot of working class people who live in Waimea, and also, by the way, a significant number of renters. And I think that's more inclusive in terms of how Honeka'a is set up. Now, in terms of the Boye plan in Puna, Puna is the fastest growing district in all of Hawaii, not just this island. And they deserve as much representation as, in fact, probably more representation than some of the other districts simply on the basis of population and its growth rate. It's the fastest growing district in all of Hawaii, and that the way the Boye plan, it makes the district contiguous, and yes, we gain another House seat, and in fact we deserve that other House seat because of the population growth. That district needs as much representation as it can get at the state level. And so that map, I think, provides that. So thank you for the opportunity to speak.
Okay, next up is Ariel Murphy, followed by Ralph Boye.
Good afternoon, my kako. I am Ariel Murphy of the Big Island. Thank you, Mr. Bidleman, for your pitch for Puna. For the record, this oral testimony is in addition to my written submission for this hearing. I want to emphasize that we in Puna have not stopped yearning for a House seat that is not merged with Hilo. This situation has been going on for at least 10 years now. That merger of rural with urban is an injustice to the people of Puna. It is a violation of our constitution and is not Pono. It must stop. We in Puna not just want that seat for ourselves, we badly need it, if only for our roads. I'm sure you understand that. Dedicating House District 3 to Puna is consistent with Article 4, Section 6, Number 7, and the preamble of our Constitution. There is no misinterpreting that our Constitution does not want communities with different socio-economic characteristics to be mixed together. Moreover, this House seat for Puna is both practicable and doable. The increase in Puna's population based on the 2020 census warrants 2 House seats. The Boye community map clearly shows that placing the 2 House seats in Puna's Senate district still meets the target Senate district population as was set in the HRC Senate map. And so I ask the honorable members of this commission and its technical staff to acknowledge our request and ensure that the Boye community map version 2 is followed. It is an advantage to both this commission and the public to follow the people's will while adhering to the requirements of our Constitution. By adopting the Boye community map version 2, you will demonstrate that you listen to us, the people. We in turn can maintain our trust in your integrity and our confidence on our democratic processes and institutions. Mahalo to the Commission and its technical staff, to the Hawaii Island Advisory Council, and to our ohana from the other islands for all your efforts, your support, your manao. Aloha.
Next testifier is Ralph Boye, followed by Mary Smart.
Aloha, Commissioners. I'm Ralph Boye. I submitted written testimony for today's meeting. At the January 20th meeting, a commissioner on the technical committee stated there are many different opinions of what the criteria mean. In my written testimony, I go into detail showing why that should not be the case. The criteria are quite clear, and there is only one common sense way to interpret them. Clearly, the intent of the language of our Constitution is to give representation to as many residents as possible in the fairest possible way. Let's let the facts speak for themselves. The word practicable may confuse some, but its definition is clear. It means capable of being done. The use of the word shall shouldn't confuse anyone, and the use of the term where possible could not be clearer. If it is possible, then do it. So what are the different opinions for what these terms mean? My written testimony shows Boyer version 2 was able to apply and meet all of the constitutional criteria. The HRC Technical Committee plan did not. Is this a battle between East and West Hawaii for the 8th House seat? The Hawaii Community Plan, the Hawaii redistricting plan looks like the 8th House seat was intentionally placed in West Hawaii. The Boyer plan did not do this. We simply followed the constitutional criteria and put 8 House seats wholly within the 4 Senate districts. We used the 4 Senate districts as defined by the HRC Technical Committee's plan. There was no intention to either give or deny the 8th House seat to anyone. And clearly the population numbers and the deviations from the target populations show that using this method was the fairest way to assign the House seats. Attached to my testimony is a list of people who submitted written testimony in support of the community plan from the time the 8th seat was awarded. 47 people submitted written testimony in support as of yesterday. One of the letters, one of the 47 letters alleged to be speaking for all of the residents of Hawaiian Acres. There were additional people who gave oral testimony in support. One particularly important oral testimony was that of Hawaii Advisory Council Chair Steve Paval. Mr. Paval stated that while the HAC did not endorse any specific plan, he noted that the majority of the testifiers supported the community plan. He noted the efforts of our community in producing this plan and stated that our plan is practicable and that it does a good job of meeting the needs of our community. Please do the right thing. Please follow the constitutional criteria and please make the adjustments that are outlined.
Okay, next testifier is Mary Smart, followed by Patrice McDonald.
Aloha, commissioners. I'm Mary Smart. I live in Mililani Town, and I still object to the technical committee's plans. And although I may be the only one from Mililani speaking at these meetings, people from both Mililani Town and Mililani Mauka thank me for speaking up for their communities. I'm optimistic, though, that by seeing the additional meetings on the calendar, that the technical committee will take our pleas into consideration and put our communities of interest together and eliminate even the most minuscule perception of gerrymandering, which to me is more than obvious in the case of Mililani Mauka, the change that was made January 6th. By using neighborhood boards, Board of Education, district census, communities of interest, it's obvious which neighborhoods, Mililani Mauka, YPO Acres, Mililani Town, that, what the synergy should be. One of the things that is important, once you get these house districts correct, then the Senate committee districts of putting 2 related ones together that Mr. Hicks has mentioned makes a lot of sense. And at one time, a Senate district with Mililani Mauka and Mililani Town together, I think was the proposal. And that is exactly what it should be. So I'm counting on the technical committee to make those changes. I included a map that shows the synergy of the communities I've been talking about. And Kabapa Gulch seems to be a natural boundary that divides Mililani Town from YPO Gentry, Koa Ridge, and definitely Waikele. Waikele, we've got Papa Gulch and the Patsy Mink Park between us and Waikele. If you look at the map, it's just so remote. I want you to consider, those of us that are elderly, that we want to participate in government and have our voices heard. But when you stretch out these districts, it makes it very difficult. We want to work together with those we share common things. We go to the same schools, we shop in the same shopping centers, we go to the same churches. That gives us energy, and we hope that our voices will be heard. So I know from Bill Hicks' previous maps, we know it can be done. And so we're asking you to reconsider maybe using one of his maps that actually had Mililani Town, Mililani Mauka, as unique areas. I hope you'll take that into consideration. So thank you very much for this opportunity to
Next testifier is Patricia McDonald, followed by Roberta Mayer.
Aloha, commissioners. We have been dismayed by the fact that keawe and the Puna subdivisions like Orchid Land, Hawaiian Acres, Fern Forest have been combined with Hilo into one house district for the last 20 years. Hawaiian Acres has been divided into two house areas, and it is the largest subdivision on the islands. The residents of Puna have not been getting any representation that they deserve. The 2020 census showed that the keawe Mountain View area grew by over 25% from 2010 to 2020. Hawaiian Acres census was never done. That area now has a population somewhere 41 to 45,000 people. It's our understanding that the target resident population for each house district is 24,999. This area nearly qualified for two house seats. Why is the commission combining it with Hilo again? Based on the 2020 census, the Puna district, which includes keawe, Mountain View to Pahoa and Kalapana, has a total of 55,000 residents. There should be no question regarding the fact that Puna warrants two house seats. The Ralph Boyea Community Plan provides for this. The HRC plan does not. Please adopt the Boyea Community Plan. Mahalo. I did it under 3 minutes.
Next up is Roberta Mayer, followed by Maki Morinao.
Aloha, commissioners. My name is Roberta Mayer, and I am testifying on behalf of the Hawaii Kai Neighborhood Board and community. I would like to thank the technical group for seriously considering the input of our community voices and redrawing the House District maps to maintain Makapu'u Point as the natural geographic boundary between House Districts 18 and 51. I would like to reiterate my earlier testimony to urge the technical group and commissioners to reestablish Makapu'u Point as the natural geographic boundary for Senate Districts 9 and 25. The reduction of one Oahu House District following the extraction of non-permanent residents now provides a perfect opportunity to align the 17 Oahu Senate districts with the remaining 34 Oahu House districts. As the House districts are developed as equally as practicable with minimal population deviation, two House districts can easily form one Senate district with minimal population deviation and aligned district boundaries. This is demonstrated in the House and Senate district maps submitted by Bill Hicks. I urge the technical group and commissioners to consider the maps submitted by Mr. Hicks and to take this opportunity to redraw the maps to simply align two House districts within each Senate district's boundary. Thank you again for your diligence, commitment, and hard work on this very important task. Mahalo nui.
Next up is Maki Morinao, followed by Kapua Maderos.
Good afternoon,
Commissioners, and aloha Hawaii State residents. I'm testifying in support of the Boye House Community Plan version 2. It took into account residents all around our island, going from census block by block to collaboratively create the best and most fair representation possible. I believe it was a success after being part of each redistricting meeting and looking at all the maps. It's keeping similar communities together to advocate for their collective needs, which has been voiced earlier today. We also viewed the land as a haupua system and the knowledgeable representatives around the environmental impact to take into account the watershed relationships. This was challenging due to the census block design, but it seems like it did the best it could given the tools. I echo what others said before. We have 4 Senate seats and 8 House seats, given the 4 Senate seats have a target residence population of 49,998, and the House seats have the target resident population of half of that, 24,999. It makes sense to have 2 House seats in each Senate district and 2 House, and it nestles pretty perfectly amongst the 8 House seats. So I believe it was a very fair and great representation. The end result of this map better serves our residents while meeting all the criteria set forth in Article 4, Section 6 of the Hawaii State Constitution. It continues to be the best map compared to many proposed and the version I see out there, and I hope to see this adopted. The Big Island residents all around, I think I can speak for everyone, that our residents worry that our loved ones is fit enough if they're severely sick or injured, that we can be properly airlifted to Honolulu. And these are considered rural situations here. And we hope to have each other advocate for one's needs. And I second Puna's needs. And I believe it's a fair map. Mahalo, thank you for this time.
Next up is Kapua Maderos, followed by Kapohu Olahaina Pamunis.
Aloha, aloha awinala to the chair, Mugiishi, and the commissioners, as well as the technical team. I thank you again for another opportunity to testify. And I would like to ask you to please listen to the voices of all of the people that I've heard today as they resound over and over again that the Boye plan for Moko Keawe is the best plan for their community. They will be the ones that will be ultimately affected by the plans that are made. And so they should be heard. As well as I would like to ask that you please revisit the issue for our Senate seat 25 for Waimanalo, that you please look at restoring the border of Makapu'u as it was before. We've been in over 2 decades of injustice to Waimanalo, and fixing that would be returning to justice for our community members. So I thank you again for the opportunity to return. I would also ask that you please hear all of the voices of all of the communities. As I stated before, they will be the ones that will be affected, and I've heard them echoing that as I've sat here for many days listening to testimony. So you have a hard job. I appreciate all of your hard efforts, and I also appreciate that you gave the community so much time to come here and to give their mana'o. And then I ask that you please listen to the voices of the people and follow the rules that you are governed by. Mahalo. Have a beautiful and blessed day. Aloha.
Okay, next testifier is Kapohu o Lahaina Pamunis, followed by Becky Gardner.
Aloha. This is kupuna kapoho o lahaina. You know, I really appreciate being here to do this because this is going to happen 10 years later. And I don't know, at 70, I'm pushing it. I don't know if I'll be here. So, and I'm sure there's some of you sitting on the board, who are old kupuna like me. So yeah, this is our chance to, do it pono and right here, and really appreciate that I can do this hanaho hula again with you today, even though I never bring my ukulele. But we still need to get that house, not the house, the Senate seat corrected, in Waimanalo, boundary to the Makapu'u point for our Senate seats. You did great with our House seat, making sure that the boundary was there in Makapu'u. So we appreciate that. By doing this for our Senate district seat, it puts us into our Ko'olau district, which makes common sense because that's our common ground and interest, on that part of the Aina. Also in listening, I just want to support those in Mililani, Pearl City, Papakolea, and in the Puna district who are coming out with some real good points on what needs to be done in their district. Somebody said it wasn't possible to please all the people, but you guys have demonstrated that it is possible, especially when the people, the residents, do their due diligence, and they certainly have, in drawing their maps and everything else. And by you doing that, I have to tell you, it really does restore public trust in the process. So may God continue to guide you to serve the people's voice, because it makes a difference. And in times today where the feeling of being able to trust the government process is really a challenge, I have to take and do the hula bao to you all, that I think by continuing these meetings and continuing to hear us, you may even change that one person who thinks you can't please all of the people, because with God, we can do anything. Mahalo for hearing my testimony today.
Next testifier is Becky Gardner, followed by Shannon Matson.
Aloha, everybody. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Yes, Becky Gardner, owner and principal of Policy Matters LLC. I just want to first thank you for conducting a meeting on Saturday. This past week was really busy for me, I'm sure with a lot of people with session starting. So to me, it's like, I know you no longer need to provide the public hearing period, but having these extra commission meetings sort of mimics that. So I appreciate that gesture on behalf of the commission. I also want to express my appreciation for the commission's action and response to the senators and their challenge to the processes that you've engaged. I thought that the analysis and your response was apt and appropriate and reflective of what the community had wanted as well. So thank you for that. I think that we've come a long way. We're growing together as a community and as a commission, and we're learning and beginning to speak in one voice for these maps. So I'm happy about that movement. I'm also very happy about the voice from the community. I am sensing such a high level of sophistication and understanding this process now. They're citing the Constitution accurately. And one thing that I hear is a focus on the term practicable. And if you look at Black's Law's dictionary, practicable is defined as any idea or project which can be brought to fruition or reality without any unreasonable demands. There have been several maps submitted by the community contemporaneous with the maps submitted by the technical committee after the last extraction data. And they didn't have a chance, these drafters didn't have a chance to consult the other maps, as, in my estimation. So I feel like we're getting closer. But because these community maps achieve all these constitutional objectives and also in HRS 25-2, in my mind, practical is achieved. We're there. So that there are maps there, it's impossible to say it's not practical because it's already happened. You know, we've got Bill Hicks maps, we've got several maps, you know, from the Boye maps. So it's there. And I think that should this plan as proposed be presented to a Supreme Court under Article 4, Section 10, it is within their province to review what you've done and determine that there's been an abuse of discretion if you don't actually do what is possible. It's not unreasonable. So, gosh, I got some more to say, but there's this phrase, don't let the perfect be the enemy of the good. And I think that's useful here because we may not get perfect. I'll concede there's no way we can get perfect, but we have learned so much and we can't unlearn what we've done. We've got our best people and the best military. And just one thing, we just can't allow the impossibility of reaching perfect to prevent us from trying. And we're almost there. So thank you for your work. And I look forward to the new maps that come out next week. Aloha.
The next testifier is Shannon Matson.
Aloha, commissioners. I just wanted to mahalo Chair Mugaishi as well as the rest of you for holding fast and replying to the Senate with clarity and definitiveness on the extraction process and refusing to follow the Kansas guidelines as the staff outlined. That's just a ridiculous proposal. And I really appreciate that you guys were able to move forward with the plans as with the extraction numbers as stated. I'm going to keep it brief. I know you all know where I stand on this process. I just was hoping to ask for some clarity, and I'm sure the chair is about to probably say so once we're done with testimony, but in case it wasn't already stated, or if it could be restated, I would really love to know when we can anticipate seeing the final map proposals based on all of this incredible testimony that we've gotten from the community. And also if we're not going to be moving forward with putting the House districts, 2 House districts to each 1 Senate district on the Big Island, I'm hoping that the commission will take some time and really thoroughly answer all of us as to why that is not happening, or what the train of thought is in regards to why that might not be occurring. So that's it for me today. Mahalo again for all your time and energy on this process. Aloha.
Next testifier is Ryan Tam, followed by Louisa, keawe.
Aloha, good afternoon. My name is Ryan Tam. I'm chair of the Ala Moana Neighborhood Board number 11. I am testifying in support of the modified redistricting plan with respect to the proposed boundaries and reduced population deviations in Kaka'ako. I previously submitted written testimony on January 12th. The revised plan keeps Kaka'ako together within contiguous House and Senate districts rather than dividing them across 2 separate districts at Ala Moana Boulevard. Thank you very much to the technical committee and the commission for listening to the community and incorporating these improvements into the revised reapportionment plan and addressing our board's concerns. Our board has not yet had an opportunity to discuss the issues about the alignment of House, Senate, and congressional districts, but we will be bringing this up and we'll submit testimony as appropriate. Again, mahalo for the opportunity to testify this afternoon. The Saturday hearing time is much easier to participate from a community perspective. Mahalo for your hard work and dedication to this effort. Thank you.
Next testifier is Louisa, keawe.
Aloha, Reapportionment Commissioners and Chair Scott Nago and Technical Committee. My name is Louisa, keawe. I am a voter of the island of Oahu, a resident of Waimanalo, Hawaii 96795. Prior to my written testimonies, I still oppose the District 51 and District 18 for the wraparound. If there is a clause clouds in the Senate District 25 overlapping our House District 51, then let's correct it. Because I am in support for Makapu'u Point to be the boundaries for our District 51 and District 18. Thank you, Chair, for these meetings to discuss and to give our testimony to clarify certain C's of Bill Hicks maps. Thank you for being patient and understanding, hearing out all the citizens of Oahu and the Big Island's testimonies and concerns. My question to the Commissioner: if our Constitution is being ignored or not withheld for the rights of the people, then what good will come out of this 10th reapportion and redirecting map? In closing, thank you and God bless you, Scott Nago, for your time and holding this meeting with us today. Aloha.
Chair, there are no further testifiers.
Thank you very much. Thanks to everybody in the public for 3 days of wonderful input. We appreciate all of your engagement in our process. So we'll now move on to agenda item number 4, consideration of public testimony regarding modified final legislative and congressional reapportionment plans recommended by the Technical Committee Permitted Interaction Group. So as a reminder, our meetings this past week have been to hear and consider public testimony on modified proposed final legislative and congressional reapportionment plans recommended by the Technical Committee Permitted Interaction Group. We are not holding a vote today, and action will be considered at a subsequent meeting. As I discussed earlier, and one of the testifiers toward the end asked, the Technical Committee will be meeting again following all of these public input and public testimony, and they will be considering whether or not to make any changes to the map. This will then be presented on Wednesday, the 26th of January, which is next week. So other than that, commissioners, is there any discussion on the public testimony either today or any of the past 2 days prior to this regarding the modified final legislative and congressional reapportionment plans? Okay, again, I want to thank all the commissioners for using a Saturday to provide access to the public who has trouble coming on weekdays for this. It's great. And I also want to thank in advance the Technical Permitted Interaction Group, which is going to meet again after however many meetings they've had up to now to consider all of this and put together a final proposed plan. So really, really appreciate all of your efforts, Technical Committee. Thank you so much. And with that, we'll move on to the final agenda item, which is adjournment. So thank you again, everybody, for participating in the meeting. As there's no further business, is there a motion to adjourn?
Sure, I'll make a motion, but did we need to do reports by the advisory council? Did we miss one? Are we not going to do that?
Well, we can, but my understanding was there wasn't any. I'll just ask, were there any advisory councils who would like to present? Okay, thanks.
Okay, with that, I make a motion to adjourn.
Okay, thank you, Commissioner. Is there a second?
I think, no,
Okay.
not.
I got a motion by Commissioner Nakota and a second by Commissioner Nishimura.
Great. Okay, any discussion? If not, Mr. Nago, will you please take the vote?
Commissioner Chip Chase is excused. Commissioner Chun.
Aye.
Commissioner Kenny is excused. Commissioner Nakota.
Aye.
Commissioner Nishimura.
Aye.
Commissioner Onako.
Aye.
Commissioner Ono.
Aye.
Commissioner Rathman is excused. Chair Maguishi.
Aye.
Chair, the motion carries.
Thank you. Mahalo, everybody.